Hey folks, it is 3 o'clock. We are slowly getting started. I am Danny Terrell. I'm the curator for Central District Forum for Arts and Ideas. Hey Nina. Omi, hello everybody. Hey folks. Hey Sharon, Nari Williams. So I'm the curator for CD Forum, Central District Forum for Arts and Ideas. We are waiting for Michael B. Maine, who looks like he just came on. I need to try to request a Michael B. Maine and wait for him to join us. Somebody had lots of mimosas for breakfast. I can't. There's Michael B. Maine.
Hey, what's up, Danny? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? I'm just trying to make
Good.
sure this is tuned up so folks can hear me. Or I can hear you. I don't know, something like that. Everybody is feedback. What's that? Okay. I think that's better. All right. I was having feedback.
Okay.
I'm still having it. Oh well. If it gets too bad, people just let me know. Welcome to, what is this called? Physical distancing, intimate conversation that CD Forum has put on. I'm hosting this thing, and hey folks, if you hear feedback, please let me know. I am so excited to talk to Michael B. Maine. Act like I don't talk to him at least once a week. So I'm gonna act like I don't ever talk to you. What these conversations are about, during the coronavirus, we knew that a lot of things were shut down with artists, those workers that are in the food industry, gig workers, including photographers. Thank you, Nicole. Sounds good here. Great. Including photographers and videographers and people in the arts. So we knew a lot of things got shut down. And so we decided to have these conversations to talk to all of these folks and how you can support them and how you can give to them and how has this affected them. For me, what's happening is that I just have some really dope people that I get to have in my life. And I just want y'all to get to know them. So this is a quick way to try to get to know them. And you can also go on their websites and email them and get to know them more and also give them money. We've talked to quite a bit of people thus far, and this is the month of May. We started it in April, and we're into our second group of people. And we'll go all the way to June. July, we'll have some other special things happening. I also want to say before I jump into conversation with Michael that today you'll see me and Michael again at the Mama's Muse Festival. So you're like, hey, I want to see more of y'all. Mama's Muse Festival is happening through District Forum for Arts and Ideas YouTube channel. It starts at 4 o'clock until 6. That is with Monique Franklin. She created in 2014 the beginning works of a stage play, I'm going to say a performance piece, centering around Black mothers and Black single mothers specifically. And so April 29th, we did a viewing party, a watch party of the first iteration. You will see today video that was shot by Michael B. Maine and some other pieces that will be a part of the bigger evening length show. So tune into Mama Muse, CD Forum YouTube channel. You can also go to our website and also to our Facebook page to get more information. All right, let's talk to the one, the only Michael B. Maine.
Hey, Danny.
Hello. I'm just going to read a little bit of your bio. As an artist, my primary discipline is photography, although I employ a wide range of mediums and techniques as tools to examine social systems. The majority of my work centers on issues of race, sexuality, class, and the impact that media has on the perception of people. I'm going to stop there so we can just jump into some things. So I had a brilliant idea. So I got this thing, and someone else introduced me to this called Know Yourself. Cards of Self-Exploration. So what I'm going to start doing now is pick a card for a guest that they're going to have to answer as the start question. This is going to be a great one.
All right.
So I'm not going to jump in all in your personal business.
It's all good.
It's going to be a great one. So to kick this off, I want you to choose four adjectives to describe yourself. And so the other thing is, if there are three friends of Michael on Instagram Live, you also can type in four adjectives to describe Michael B. Maine, but you're going to describe four adjectives of yourself.
Four adjectives: curious, thoughtful, reflective, caring.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you,
Why do you pick those?
because I feel like they apply.
The
Those
simple
are the values
answer.
I try to live by.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's a lot of stuff that happens in the world that I love and things that I don't love, and I try to be curious about them so I don't just end up in a puddle of mess
Awesome. We
or
have
as a
generous,
puddle of mess.
funny, kind, amazing,
Oh,
fast, intelligent, nuanced, creative. Look at that.
wow.
Thank y'all for indulging. Y'all can keep going if you want to. We're just going to talk with Michael. Um, so at the start of the coronavirus, what was going through your mind when you knew that this was serious and we had to change the way that we move through the art scene in Seattle and the world?
Hmm. I think the first thing that was going through my mind was just being concerned about me and then people I care about and just people in the world in general.
Hmm.
Especially folks that like black folks and especially family, friends, other creatives and everything. Uh, I feel like I try to live in man, how do I say it? Like I try to live in a way that I feel like I'm going to be adaptive and everything. But I was just concerned and still am concerned. You know, I have people that I care about that are extremely at risk for whatever set of reasons and everything. And my first thoughts went to the people that I know might need more help than others or more support than others.
Awesome. And as gigs started to decline and people started to lose work, what were some of the ways that you thought that you could help and lend a support to those people that were losing work, especially when you talk about more marginalized communities, black communities, queer folks, women in general, black women, women of color?
Well, the first thing I did was I just started calling folks. Just like, hey, how you doing? Do you need anything? Um, just how are you as a human on Earth? Like, what are you going through? What kinds of how can I be the best friend that I can be? And then as far as like gigs and things are concerned, like all my gigs evaporated too, and and part of my job in general is to be creative. So I was always just thinking creatively, and I was like, well, what kinds of projects could we do now, given the new circumstances that we're in? And I just started reaching
Right.
out to folks and saying things like, hey, I have this idea. Are you interested? And whenever jobs do come up, then I always try to reach out and make sure that other people have opportunities as well, because I don't want to, nor can I do all of it by myself. So
Right.
yeah. Mhm.
And have you lost a significant amount of work during this time?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
When March hit, I lost 100% of the gigs that I was signed up for,
Mhm.
or had contracts for. So everything has
And
been.
how have you been able to manage during this time?
I focus on things that I feel like I can control. So I eat pretty healthy. I work out pretty much every day. I find time to read and exercise and and all of that.
Right.
And but yeah, as far as work, I always have some kind of personal project going on that I can put my heart and soul into just to keep me motivated. That's probably the
Hmm.
hardest thing was waking up with a lack of direction for a specific day and trying to figure out how I was going to fill it.
Right. How have you been taking care of your heart? Because I know you have a big heart, and you are one of those quiet folks that you may not say much, but I know things affect you just through the way you walk. How have you been taking care of your heart?
Man, good question, Danny. Working out is one of the biggest things for me. I'm reading a lot, reading a lot of people that I can relate to, and then also a lot of people that I can't relate to. Because one of the things for me is I
Mhm.
always want to learn about people, experiences, and fields that I don't seem to I just aren't part of me or part of my identity or anything. So
Mhm.
that helps inform the way I basically go about life. Other than that, I'm pretty good at saying no and setting boundaries and being direct as a communicator. So if somebody is starting
Right.
to kind of siphon too much energy, I know how to shut it down.
Awesome.
Yeah, and also
Um,
I surround myself with people, not surround myself. That centers me. I spend time with people that I love spending time with, like you, and
Thank you.
yeah, of course, of course. And I wake up every morning and write a letter, even if it doesn't go out. I just write some kind of note of gratitude, just to remember why I care and who I care about, and just recognize that people are always doing something wonderful.
That's awesome. Um, how have you been taking care of folks around you? Because I know you're also a caretaker,
Hmm.
much like me. So, what have you been doing with folks around you and taking care of them?
Phone calls, social distance walks, Zoom calls, uh, money has exchanged, food has exchanged, like Grub Hubs and, and things like that.
Mhm.
Getting on a webcam and having dinner with folks, and just being honest and having real honest conversations with folks is yeah, yeah, that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
I think for me the
How?
biggest thing is just being 100% real with people. Whether it's it's always a two-way at least conversation, and it's about allowing ourselves to be open, vulnerable, and be real, and not try to hide the stuff that's actually going on for us.
Right. Has this made you view your field, your photographer, videographer, you do a multitude of other art forms. Has this viewed you in a different way? Have you thought of other things to like move your practice forward?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love challenges, and right now we're in a a very challenging situation, and yeah, like I do a lot of media stuff like you're talking about. My primary focus is photography, but since photography is kind of taking a decline right now for me anyway, I'm finding new ways to do different things. So a lot of video, a lot of streaming, and trying to think creatively, not just about the technical aspects of stuff, but trying to understand how can we translate some of the cultural things that exist in the physical space into the virtual space, so that when we do digital work and everything, we don't lose the soul that's important to the work we do.
True.
Does that answer your question?
Um, yes, yes. What are outside of exercise and eating healthy Zoom calls? What is like your guilty um pleasure? And it can't be work. Cannot be work.
Uh, guilty pleasure? Video games?
Uh-huh.
Um, Netflix? It can't be work. Can it be creative production? Okay. Uh, I like cars a lot, so I can, gas is really expensive right now, and I care about climate
Yeah.
change. So, but I do enjoy driving, and I think most people think of me as somebody who's extremely busy all the time. But one of my favorite things to do is lie down on the couch and do nothing. It's probably one of my, my
Right.
guilty, and I actually do feel guilty when I do
Right.
that. Yeah.
And the reason I said no work, like if people don't know, you're normally up at 4 or 5 in the morning,
Mm.
working. So I was like, no, your guilty pleasure cannot be work. Like, what do you do to actually take care of yourself?
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, no, no work. I'm on your website and you have like a few projects. Can we talk about the We Out Here Blacks Making History? Can you
Hmm.
talk about that project and why it's important to you?
It's important to me because I mean, it's important for me for so many reasons. But the first and foremost thing is I just love celebrating people in general,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that I mean the cause of it was I kept hearing things like black people don't exist in Seattle,
Mm,
and that started to really irritate me, especially when people are saying that to me, and I'm like, hey, you saying this to a black person? I exist
right,
and I'm in Seattle, so what do
right,
you mean by
right.
that? And I kept hearing, like, I'll be in several board meetings and meetings in general for work and stuff, and I'd hear folks say things like, well, we wanted to hire a woman for this position, but we couldn't find any, or we wanted to hire a black person for this thing,
Mm,
but we couldn't find any. I'm like, what do you mean black people, you couldn't find women, queer folks, trans folks, black folks, anybody? Because I see these people all the time. So
it's called Living Under a Rock.
yeah. So Blacks Making History Month for me was it started as a combination of recognizing that black people live here, and not only do we exist here, but we exist in a very meaningful and real way. And then
Mm-hmm.
also February came around, and I started getting all those calls from folks that were like, "Hey, you're a black person that makes white folks feel comfortable. Can you do something for us and make us look good? And I was like, so there was that, and then I would always see the same kinds of posts like MLK did this and Rosa Parks did this, and
Right.
their lives were always condensed to a soundbite. And I was like, our history doesn't begin and end with slavery. It doesn't begin and end with Jim Crow or the civil rights movement. Like we're still here now, and a lot
Hmm.
of the people that I'm inspired by, yes, came from the past, but also are around all the time, and I wanted to celebrate those folks. And
Right.
instead of having an exhibition to basically show pictures of black folks, which is oftentimes what happens to kind of just use or exploit black people, I wanted to create an opportunity for people to really engage with the community and learn and be with them and everything.
Right. Awesome. Why is it important for Black voices to really be amplified, especially during this time? As we know that the coronavirus, just healthcare in general, um, is not fair to Black folks
Hmm.
because of systematic racism and all these things. Um, why is it important for Black folks to really fight and use their voice at this point in time?
I think, I mean, so people are going to be talking about black people, so black people need to be part of the conversation. Like one way or the other, we're going to be talked about. Might as well be doing some of
Right.
the talking.
Right. Right. I
Yeah,
mean, not even just part of the conversation. We need to be leading the
yeah,
conversation.
absolutely. I think
Yeah.
often like the people whose voices that are silenced the most are oftentimes voices that are most important to the conversation. When things affect
Right.
people and specifically black people in this context, the people that are closest to the problem are the people that are best suited to understand what they're going through.
Right.
And I get tired of people, regardless of the situation, talking about people and how they are going to solve other people's problems without inviting them or into the conversation. Like you said, to lead those conversations. It's not enough to have
Right.
one seat at the table and say, "Okay, black person, all right, how does this sound to you?" It's like, no, we need to lead that conversation, support each other. And oftentimes there's so many institutions and things that we need to have access to that are denied. And when they're denied, I say, I don't have time to beg for it. I'm just going to create the doors and open them myself.
Awesome, exactly. And speaking of We Out Here and people leading conversations, being at the table, in June you're going to have the We Out Here Festival,
Yep,
in partnership with Langston.
correct. Hmm.
Can you talk more about that and what can people expect and why should we be excited about this festival?
You should be excited about the festival because there are some really cool people that are going to be involved with it. It's going to be a celebration that culminates on Juneteenth, the June 19th. There will be everything is digital this year because of obvious reasons. But there's going to be things like concerts, spoken word presentations, poetry, mental, physical health, physical, mental, and emotional health and well-being workshops, career readiness workshops, and other creative opportunities for people to get engaged and learn from folks in the community. And we're trying to figure out ways to do things to make things fun. So it's not just simply putting a camera in front of somebody and saying, talk for a minute.
Right.
Yeah.
And how long will the festival, how many days, weeks?
4 days, 17th to the 20th.
Awesome. Awesome. Anything else you can say? You've been real vague about this festival.
Let's see, anything else? I mean, I love the people I'm working with. I'm trying not to drop names yet, as far as who is involved. There's some cool people involved, and it's just it's really close to my soul. So like, if you care about me, then be excited for it. And if you don't, if you care about other people, be excited for that too, because they might be involved.
I'm trying to
Langston
get you to drop some names. I'm like, who should we expect?
Langston does amazing programming. The people involved with Langston are amazing people, and I have some amazing partners that I'm working with. And if you're not excited for me, be excited for the brain power and the heart power that's involved with the entire community that's making this thing happen.
Awesome. And why is this important festival during this time? Again, it's like during this time it says something else to the world and it says something completely different to Black bodies. So why is
Hmm.
it important that we tune in and we look out for what's going on with this festival?
Well, I'm following not very closely, but I'm following the news enough to see what kinds of stuff happens in the news, and I was following everything from a couple of days ago, which actually started a few weeks ago, several weeks ago,
Right.
and and it's just, how do I say it's important? It's important, but in today, right now, I keep asking the question, why are we hated so much? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired of the of various forms of narrative and discourse that is centered around trying to explain why we deserve the right to exist. And this
Right.
is not about begging people to understand that we have the right to exist. As far as I'm concerned, if you don't think that I have the right to exist, I don't have time for you. That's your work to figure out, not for me. So this is a celebration of the people that exist, what we're doing now, and so that we can learn and grow with each other. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think it's important now, more so than not more so than ever, but I think it's just as important now as it is in any other given time, especially now that we are oftentimes like locked up in our houses and not really able
Right.
to do a lot of things that we generally do as Black people to convene and get together.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And you touched on something I wanted to ask you about. And framing it differently. So in February, Ahmaud Arbery got killed by two white men making a citizen's arrest, which we know that that is not what they did. I wanted to flip on it because what's not being said in the news that Nina Pop, a black trans woman, got murdered this week, I believe, or last week, and that's not again being in the news.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that there's disparities, and who, especially when it comes to Black death? And again, I don't want to popularize Black death. I don't want this to turn into more trauma porn,
Mm-hmm.
but I love the way you think and you often talk about Black folks and Black trans folks because you are someone that supports a lot of Black trans folks also, and just and not to take away from Ahmaud Arbery's death,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
why disparities do you think is happening?
What in news coverage?
And news coverage and not news coverage, because I've not seen too many people outside of trans Black folks post about Nina Pop.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh man, I think there are several reasons. I think the first and foremost, I think that a lot of times people don't know what's going on if they're only getting the news from mainstream news sources
Mm-hmm.
and only hanging out with people that remind us of ourselves, whether that be around gender, age, race, sexuality, identity, whatever that is. And I mean, quite frankly, I also think that talking about trans issues and trans people in general is something that's not done enough. I feel like by not having these conversations, we erase people, and that's common in various cultures. And where I know where I'm from. I'm from Dallas, and the idea that certain people exist is kind of foreign for a lot of folks. And then whenever I've been in so many situations where I've seen and experienced the confrontation with somebody that somebody feels like doesn't deserve to exist or didn't know exist, and the fear and the anxiety and the of how they may be seen as an individual that's interacting with somebody else just causes a lot of fear for them. It says like, I'm just gonna not bring this up. Either I'm not qualified for the conversation, I'm scared that somebody might lump me in or group me in with somebody that I feel I can't relate to and things like that.
Right.
Basically, I think it comes down to intolerance, ignorance, and a lack of understanding.
Awesome. Um, I'm making presumptions, but I did hear you say this.
Hmm.
You are a cis male, you are a straight male, you are a Black male.
Hmm.
And the reason I wanted to bring up that conversation because sometimes we need to hear from other folks. Why is it important that Black folks, straight folks, cis folks, um, start talking about trans deaths also, especially when it comes to Black trans women?
Well,
Um,
I'm sorry.
Again, I think, and sorry, I think like white folks should be at the lead of talking about Black death in the sense of like they need to start making a change with their people. We can
Hmm.
scream, we can scream, but again, we're not being heard. So yes, we should still talk about it as Black folks, but I'm exhausted.
Hmm.
And so as a queer person, as a non-binary person, I'm exhausted.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
what can straight cis Black folks do, in
We,
your opinion?
in my opinion, I think that um, well, for one, do our own work. I think that
Mm-hmm.
we're always asking people to solve our problems for us and educate us and make us better people. And I think there's plenty of literature out there. There's videos. There's conversations that have been had, podcasts that have been had, and everything. Just do your homework. And that's one thing. Another thing is we have to take accountability and responsibility for the harm that we are doing to ourselves and to each other. And it's important when we lose a trans person, we're losing somebody in our community. Like people, and I don't. To me, sometimes people say like, "Oh, I don't care if somebody's gay. I don't care if somebody's like." No, I do care if you are gay. I do care if you're trans
Mhm.
because you have issues and experiences and lived experiences that I don't have. And for me to say
Right.
I don't care about who you are says I don't care about who you are. So I absolutely care. And and we have to, as far as I'm concerned, you did say my opinion. So in my
Yeah.
opinion, we have to do the work to grow and take care of each other. When we lose anybody in our community, we lose so much. We lose wisdom, fun, things that we can learn from, but besides what we gain from that, there's a human
Right.
being that is no longer here because of something that we hold collectively that it said it's not okay for you to exist, and we have to fix that.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Again, I love the way your mind works and how you see things. And just the truth that you tell. Um, what's next for you as far as your art goes?
I'm trying to figure that
Your
out.
practice.
Trying to figure that out. I always have some projects in my mind. Um, let's see, what is next for me in my art? As honestly, I'm not sure what's next.
Mhm.
I think I'm in an exploration phase as much as I don't like that term. I have right now I'm learning a lot. Like, there are new
Mhm.
challenges that coronavirus has put forth around various forms of media, and I'm really enjoying figuring out some of these problems and everything. But as
Right.
far as my art and where my art is going, I am the biggest thing thematically that I'm growing towards is I'm starting to put a bookmark or I'm sorry, in the chapter where I'm processing a lot of things that I had to get through. Like there's a lot of trauma that I had to work through, identity things that I
Mhm.
needed to work through and explore. And I'm finally getting to the point now where a lot of the painful stuff I've worked through, and I'm moving towards much more of the celebration and just like conceptually new ideas and things that I feel have been locked away because I've been trying to deal with or come to terms with or deal with things that have happened in my personal past as well as historically and generationally.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Um, I've been in the studio with you. I've been around you in creating, and you said something I think last week, and I'm paraphrasing, but people walking into your space, it is your space, you're the creative, but you're not an egomaniac, you're not egotistical, you're not like Michael B. Maine, the artist. You make people feel welcome. Why is that important? You make people feel seen and visible, and the space is inviting. Why is that
Thank you.
important?
Appreciate that. I think it's important because, well, for one, I don't feel like there are a lot of spaces where that is the feeling. And
Mm-hmm.
um, and when it comes to resources like time and space and things like that, like I don't feel like it's mine. I feel like I occupy time and I occupy some of this space,
Mm-hmm.
and and for and I want to be a person that people in the community can see and trust and say, okay, if I have an idea or a project, even if I don't want Michael to do it or help me out with it or whatever, I just want people to know that they can. I don't want to put barriers up for people. If there's anything I can
Right.
do to help people accomplish whatever it is they're trying to accomplish, especially folks that don't generally have access to these things, then I try to make it happen. And I never want anybody to feel like they're receiving a favor or that I'm being condescending or anything like that. Like this
Mm-hmm.
space is a space where it's important for people to be able to feel like they are welcome, they can create, they can have fun, they can be who they are, and they're not being judged.
Right.
And I think for me, is to answer your question about why it's important is art, creativity, innovation. These things are very important to me. They are also very important in our communities, and people need to have access to them to be their whole selves. And I think all too often people go through life being judged constantly, whether they're around family, friends, work, and they're not able to kind of shed some of those masks And not to say that 100% of that will happen here, but my goal is to create an environment that is as welcoming and as safe as possible.
Awesome. I think that's part of your brilliance. I love like watching your or looking at your photographs. Um, there's a certain care and love and respect that you have behind the lens that shows in front of the lens. I have not seen like anything from you that I'm just like, like it's cringeworthy. It's very much like this person is really in tune with caring about what the subject is going through, what the person is going through, especially when it comes to um, young black women, women in general, trans bodies, queer bodies. Where did that come from?
A lot of that comes from my dad. I learned a lot of my feminism from
Mm-hmm.
him. But and also, I think for me to be a creator of media, I also need to be a student of media as well. And so I'm
Mm-hmm.
always studying how how media is created, what media is created, how does that affect the way people understand and perceive each other. And the more I understand that, the better equipped I am to address the shortcomings and shortfalls in that. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, when it comes down to creating an image, it's not about my vision and using somebody as a quote unquote subject. It's always a collaboration, and they are just as important to the entire process as it is for me. First and foremost, that person needs to be respected and treated with dignity throughout the entire process. And then
Mm-hmm.
after that, whatever I understand that whatever we create, whether it be an Instagram post or something that's going to be printed at 4 feet by 5 feet, that when somebody experiences that piece, it will change something about them, whether it be
Right.
small or large. And it's important for me to be as conscious of that as possible. And I love the idea that, or I love the times when somebody who's been photographed is looking at a photograph and they say to themselves, "Wow, I'm beautiful," or like, "Wow,
Mm-hmm.
that's me. I matter." That's amazing for me. And and when I see them surrounded by their friends and family who are also like, "Wow, see, this is the person that I know you are," and things like that, that brings me a lot of joy.
That's so awesome. That's
Yeah,
so beautiful.
thank you.
We are coming close to time because in a half hour we have some other stuff to do.
Yep.
So you're not exactly done with us today on the social media because we both have to jump off of this, have a moment to eat some food or to do what we need to do and move into the next thing. If people want to financially support your work, how do they do that?
They can go to the website. There's a support page there. Also, Cash and Venmo and Michael B. Maine pretty much everywhere. Uh, I take checks, PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, Google Pay, Apple Pay. Take all the things.
Awesome.
And
Awesome.
also, yeah, yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
And like I always say, you can donate to artists without asking them to produce anything. Sometimes artists need this time to rest. Sometimes artists need this time to let other ideas birth and come into reality. So if you want to financially support Michael B. Maine, go to his website, michaelbmaine.com.
Yeah.
Go under the support page. We also have things listed on our Instagram and our Facebook. And my last question, you know I ask this question a lot. I love this question. What is your joy in this moment
In this moment, it is
of life?
of life. I think my biggest joy right now is is the relationship I have with my sister.
Hmm.
And we, as kids, we were not kind to each other at all, and it took us several years for us to work through the the issues that we had as children. And now she's one of my best friends, if not the best friend that I have. I love her dearly, respect her a lot, and never thought we would be where we are today, given where we were several years ago. And I love being able to look at her and think to myself, "You're a better human than I am." And
Hmm.
she's a wonderful mother, sister, daughter, community advocate, educator, and she inspires me a lot. And I'm so grateful that we have come to, that we've arrived at where we are today, and that's something I don't take for granted. Same thing with other family, but especially my sister. And
What's
her
up,
name
you?
is Jessica. She has a name.
Hi, sister Jessica.
Jessica Maine. Yep.
Michael, thank you as much. You are family to me. I love you dearly. I love talking to you. Weekly, I get to see you weekly. And uh, your wisdom and your kindness and just your love for humanity always shows in everything that you do. And I appreciate you taking this time to talk to me just about who you are. If you all want to know more about Michael B. Maine and his work, again, website michaelbmaine.com. Please go check him out. Check out the We Out Here Festival, June 17th through the 20th, with surprises.
Hmm.
I'm just going to put it like that, just surprises.
Yeah.
And that's it. We will see you all in less than a half hour for Mama's Muse Festival.
That's right. And I
Yes,
love you
Michael B.
too, Danny.
Maine.
I just want to say that before you hit end or something.
Thank you.
I just really, sorry to cut you off, and I'm gonna do it
No,
anyway. I, Danny Terrell, I think you, you were one of those people that I never thought I would have the chance to meet. Not because of your name, but because of who you are. Like the people, like the kind of person you are is the kind of person I never felt like I would have the privilege to spend time with. And I want you to know that I also see the work that you put into the community and the love that you put into yourself and to the people around you. And I'm so grateful that you exist, and I'm glad that we get a chance to work together and hang out.
yes, thank you. I'm going to talk to you offline about everything that you said about your sister. Today has been a very emotional day. So when you said that, I was like, oh, you must have been in my house just like 15 minutes before I jumped on this call. Thank you. I do appreciate that, Michael. Again, the feeling's mutual. We will see each other in a few minutes.
Sounds good.
Thank you all for tuning in. Next week, we have a switching program. We're going to talk to Stefan Wallace about COVID-19 and how that's affecting the Black community. We did have Marlon Brown scheduled, but we're going to do Marlon on Sunday, Stefan on Saturday. So you have a whole weekend with intimate conversation. And if you don't know Marlon, that is my husband. That's going to be an interesting conversation.
Yep, I'm looking
So,
forward to it.
yes, just tune into that next Sunday at 3 o'clock. And then next Saturday, Stefan E. Wallace works for Fred Hutch. We'll be talking about coronavirus, COVID-19. And that's it. Michael, I love you. I will see you in a little bit. Bye, everybody.
Love you too. Have a good one.
Bye. Deuces.
Peace.